Hello YouTubers, Tommy here from Overland Transportation System with another update on building my shelf layout. In the beginning operations, finding out my limitations of what I can do with the track plan that I built, I found out that up in my warehouse area where I'm going to be unloading box cars, I plan to have a warehouse with 2 bay doors. Well, I found out that if both bays are full, I can only get 3 cars on that spur. Now, at the other end, I have to bring in flat cars for particle board to come out of the building, and I also need to deliver formaldehyde to make the particle board. So it presented a problem for me of having to bring cars down and leave them on the main and go up to the warehouse and then bring them back and forth and shuffle them that way. And I don't think a railroad would really do it that way. So I decided what I needed to do was cut in a new switch to have an off spot area and an overload track. So let's turn the camera around and we'll show you what we did. Okay, so we're back. So now here was my situation. Up in this area right here where I've got these box cars parked, that's just going to be some sort of a warehouse. I'm not sure exactly what type of commodities are going to come in and out of there yet, but that's going to just be some sort of a warehouse that's going to have 2 bay doors. And I found out that if I have a 50-foot box car or 2 50-footers, I am going to be jammed up on what's left with an engine and another car to be able to come on down to this end and either swap out bulkhead flats or tankers for the formaldehyde track. So what I found out I was limited to is I would have to leave cars down here on the main or on the runaround, travel up here to the warehouse, pull those cars that weren't unloaded yet, and have to bring them all the way down here and leave them on the runaround to make deliveries up at this end. And that wouldn't make the customers any too happy. And I don't think a railroad would really have it that way anyhow. So what I decided I needed to do was right in this area here, cut in a new switch. And I've been using Pico switches. So I've got an SL92, which I guess really turns out to be about a number 4. And they're power routed. So I decided I needed to come right in here, cut that switch, and run another dead end spur down here to handle off spots, overloads, and just make it easier to do some switching. Now how I went about this is we'll go down here and show you my Dremel motor tool. I happen to have this extension piece that goes on the end of the Dremel, and it's a nice pencil grinder, and you can get in nice and tight and make nice straight cuts. I found out in using the full-size Dremel that you just cannot cut straight down deep enough. It's gonna go on an angle. But if you have one of these extensions with the pencil tip, you can cut nice and straight, and so that's what we did. Okay, so let's get back up to the layout, and we'll take a look at the track. Alrighty, so I laid out my switch of where I wanted it. I needed to come back just far enough. I never like to run a switch into a switch. I know a lot of guys do it. I just like to have a little bit of straight run in between switches, so if I need be, I can always throw some drop feeders on there and power it up if I have an issue. Okay, so I measured out where I wanted that to go, and I marked it, and I took that Dremel and I cut down through here just beyond where I already had some track feeders. So I took that piece out. Alrighty, this is going to be tricky with no without a tripod, but we'll see if I can get this piece off. Okay, part is coming off. Well, let me set the camera down, and we'll come back. All right, we're back. So after I cut it, I put that little nub piece onto the turnout, and I just set it in here for now. It's just lightly hooked up. I can take that off easy enough. And I added some cork alongside, and I wanted this piece of track to basically go right down in the dirt. So I laid the piece of track onto the turnout. I took my magic marker. I marked my lines of where I wanted it to go. That's be right here. Okay. And I don't know yet how long I want this to be, so I'm just leaving a length. And if I can get down here and still keep it nice and clear, you can see that this cork is very, very thin. And so what I did was I put the turnout in place. I hooked that piece of track to it. Let me put this back on. There. Let me set the camera down again. Okay, we're back. So I set the turnout in place. I put the piece of straight run onto it where I wanted it to go. And as I said, I wanted this piece to go right down into the dirt. Now, this cork that I've used up in this area, as you can see, as I back away a little bit, it is much thinner than mainline cork. Some guys use N-scale cork to achieve this. I just went to Hobby Lobby and I got a selection of a couple different thicknesses of cork that they had, and that's what I used to change. I didn't change the track itself to different rail heights. Instead, I just used the cork, and when I ballast it in, hopefully it'll give the appearance of a lower rail track, like code 70 or 50 or something. So that's what I tried to achieve here. And as I said, this cork is very, very thin. So what I did was, when I came from the cut-in area down to here, I put just a little bit of weight on the track. Not enough so it would bow, but just so it wouldn't move. And I used that thin cork, much like a feeler gauge. If you, the older guys here, now you young guys probably won't know what I'm talking about, but years ago we had points in our distributor, set of points, and you had to use a feeler gauge to get the gap right. Now it's all electronic ignition. Well, I use that cork as a feeler gauge, and I just slid it down nice and easy until I could just slightly feel some resistance, knowing that that is about as far as I wanted the cork to run. And so I ran one piece from there straight on back, and then I used another piece as a feeler gauge, and I went to this area here and went on back. And then number 3, number 4. And so this is a very, very gradual incline, so much so that we're gonna do a little operations and check this out and see how it works, and see if cars will freewheel almost like a hump yard, or they will just do a nice gradual disconnect. So let me turn the camera off. We'll fire the layout up, and we'll check this all out. Before I do, let me explain also that what my next step, being I just have this, I just got it sitting here. I got some T-pins that I will just lightly fasten it in place just so it doesn't move on me. Nothing's glued down yet. I don't know how long I want this track to be. So there we are. We're all hooked in. Let's fire up an engine and we'll come on back and it works out all right. I'll disconnect this. I'll paint this cork brown to match. I'll take my glue. I'll glue that section of track down after I know how long I want it to be. So let's get to that. Okay, so here we are. Let's fire up our power source. Wait for our base unit of the NCE power cab to come on. There's the light. Okay, it says we got power to loco 003, which is the whole yard. Okay, now I'll take my second handheld unit. We'll plug it into the face of my UTP panel. And loco 429 is recognized. Loco 429, of course, is my little switcher. So let's fire up the power to that track. Let's make sure we're straight, and we are. Let us roll on some throttle. On our headlight. And out comes 429. So I think what we're going to do, just for a demonstration, I think we're just going to pull forward, run down track number 2, and we will pick up these two box cars, the New York Central and the EJ&E. Alrighty, go into the yard office, get his instructions. Okay, he knows he's coming down here. So we flip the switch to the yard. Make sure we're coming down track number 2. And let's change direction. Roll on some throttle. Here comes 429. Okay, change our direction forward. And let's run down into our industrial area. Okay, I can unplug my handheld, relocate my throttle down into the industrial area. Here he comes. And we'll run him up into the runaround. We'll pull him past this switch right here so we can back up into the warehouse area. Okay. Throw my switch. And try out our new siding. Change direction. And let us back up. go. Now, right now, we've got two 40-foot boxcars and a small switcher, and we've probably got about 5-6 inches to the switch. So we're in good shape right there. I'll find out through messing around with this just how long I want this to be, how many cars I want to be able to make use of this. But that's going to make it nice now for me to be able to swap cars up on this area, and also I won't get trapped when I need to make some deliveries down at this end with the formaldehyde tank cars and the flat cars, taking particle board out of that industry. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap this up. I thank you for watching, and we'll catch you up on the next update. Bye-bye.